I always thought my life was simple, predictable, almost boring in a comforting way. I had a stable job, a small apartment with creaky floors, a routine that felt safe. Same breakfast, same work route, same weekend plans. Nothing extraordinary ever happened to me, and for a long time, I believed that was a blessing. My past was like an old photo album I never opened. Not because it was painful, more because it felt irrelevant. A different lifetime. I had no living relatives except my mother, who rarely spoke about anything before my childhood, and my father, who died last year. He was a quiet man, strict but fair, and when he passed, I mourned in the way you mourn someone you respected but never deeply understood. A month ago, my mom called me over to help clear out the attic. She's downsizing, moving to a smaller place. In one of the dusty corners, we found a wooden box wrapped in a gray cloth. It was old, the wood dry and splintered, the lock rusted. My mother touched it like it was something radioactive. "That was your father's," she said, her voice strangely flat. "He told me never to open it. Only you should when you turned 30. I'm 29. I asked her why I was getting it early. She hesitated, cleared her throat, and said, "Because you need to." That answer didn't satisfy me, but I took the box home. The lock broke easily with a butter knife. Inside were papers, photos, and a letter with my name on it. My heart began pounding before I even unfolded it. The letter wasn't long. My father had written it when he was younger, maybe around my age now. His handwriting, shaky in places, said, "Dash, if you're reading this, then the truth matters more than time. Forgive me. I did what I believed was right. But your life did not begin the way you were told." I read that line over and over. What truth? What beginning? Under the letter was a birth certificate. My father's name was listed, but the mother's name, it wasn't my mother's. It was someone named Lillian Hart, a name I'd never heard in my life. At the bottom of the certificate was a handwritten note. "Dash, you were meant to be safe." That's all that mattered. I felt the room shrink around me. There were photos too. One showed a woman holding a newborn wrapped in a faded blue blanket. She looked tired, but her smile was warm. On the back, someone had written, "Dash for Michael, when he's ready." My name isn't Michael. At least, not the name I grew up with. I sat there for 2 hours, unable to move, staring at a life that apparently wasn't mine. I called my mother. She told me to come over. When I showed her the photo, she closed her eyes. Tears slipped down her face silently, like she'd practiced crying without sound. "She was your mother," she whispered. "Your real mother." My throat closed up. "What happened to her?" "She died soon after you were born." "And why didn't you tell me?" "Because you were never supposed to be dragged back into any of that," she said, wiping her eyes. "Your biological father, he was not a safe man. She left you with your father, the man who raised you, because she knew he could protect you." I felt like a stranger in my own skin. For days, I couldn't focus at work. I reread the letter so many times the edges started curling. I Googled Lillian Hart, but the name was too common to find anything. Then, one night, a week after opening the box, someone knocked on my apartment door at 1:30 a.m. Not lightly. 3 sharp, deliberate knocks. My heart stopped. Nobody knocks on your door at 1:30 unless it's something bad. When I opened the door, a man in his 50s stood there. Tall, tired eyes, a face that looked like it had seen too many sleepless nights. He didn't introduce himself. He just lifted a photograph, the same one I had found, and said, "You look exactly like her." My breath hitched. "Who are you?" He swallowed hard. "My name is Daniel. I'm your brother." It felt like everything inside me dropped. He stepped inside like he already knew I wouldn't stop him. He told me things that didn't feel real. That my biological father, Thomas Hart, had been involved in things far darker than addiction. Illegal deals, dangerous people, debts that didn't go away even after he did. That Lillian ran from him, pregnant with me. That Daniel, her older son, helped hide her. That she died unexpectedly, leaving me behind. Daniel said my adoptive father had stepped in because he was close to Lillian once, long before any of this. He had promised to give me a safe life, far from that world. And apparently, he kept that promise, aggressively. "Your father didn't want me to find you," Daniel said quietly. Every time I tried, he shut it down. He wanted your past buried so deeply you'd never dig it up. I didn't know whether to be grateful or furious. Then Daniel told me why he came. Someone else is looking for you. Those words froze my blood. Who? I whispered. He shook his head. I don't know exactly, but someone connected to Thomas. Someone who recently started asking questions about Lillian's second child. That's you. I stared at him, a numb pressure filling my ears. Why now? Because 5 months ago, he said Thomas died. I don't know how long I sat there. I learned I had a father who never knew me, a mother who died trying to protect me, a brother who spent decades looking for me, and someone else, someone dangerous, who had suddenly decided I mattered again. The worst part? A part of me, deep down, felt like I'd been waiting for this my whole life. Waiting for something to explain the emptiness I could never put into words. Waiting for a past I didn't know I had to finally catch up. That night, Daniel gave me a choice. I can help you disappear, he said. Right now, tonight, before they find you. Or I could stay, face whatever was coming, learn the truth completely without running. I thought about my quiet life, my routines, my job, my mother, everything I built, and I realized something terrifying. You can live an entire life and still have no idea who you are. As dawn crept in, painting the apartment gold, I finally said, I'm done running from a past I didn't even know existed. Tell me everything. Daniel nodded slowly. You're just like her, he said. Brave, stubborn, and in far more danger than you realize. That was the moment my old life ended. And the real story, the one written long before I was born, finally began. Daniel stayed in my apartment as the sun rose. He didn't ask for water or food. He just sat there, hands folded, looking around my living room like he was studying a museum exhibit of a life I never chose. It felt strange to be watched by someone who claimed to love me long before I ever knew he existed. After a long silence, he finally spoke. I need you to understand something before we go any further, he said. Your father, Thomas, wasn't just a criminal. He was a man people followed, feared, trusted with things no one should have trusted him with. I swallowed hard. And Lillian? My mother. Daniel's expression softened in a way that made my chest tighten. She was the only good thing about him, he said. She was stubborn and hopeful, even when the world gave her every reason not to be. When she found out she was pregnant again, everything changed. I leaned forward. Again? You mean me? He nodded. She wanted out. She wanted a normal life for you. She knew Thomas would never let that happen. So she ran. She went to the one person she believed would protect you, the man you know as your father. It felt unreal hearing this, like I was listening to a story about someone else entirely. And where were you? I asked. Daniel let out a long breath. I was 17, still under Thomas's control. I tried to leave too, but leaving him wasn't simple. It wasn't safe. The moment Lillian disappeared, he began tearing the world apart to find her. Did he know she'd gone to my father? Daniel shook his head. No, if he had, you wouldn't be alive. Those words hit me like a cold fist to the gut. I always assumed my life was boring, I said quietly. I thought I was just a regular guy. Daniel's mouth twitched. Not a smile, more like a brief acknowledgement of irony. That's the life your adoptive father built for you, he said. He erased everything that could lead back to you. But why hide me completely? Because Thomas believed that children were leverage. The word made my skin crawl. Leverage for what? For loyalty, for bargaining, for punishments. Daniel's voice darkened. He used me for all three. I stared at him, suddenly aware that this man, my brother, carried decades of scars I had never seen and would never fully understand. So he wanted to use me too? Once he learned you existed, yes, Daniel replied. But Lillian kept you a secret until the day she delivered you to your new father. And he cut every tie so cleanly that Thomas spent years chasing ghosts. My heart hammered. What did he want with me after all these years? Why now if he's dead? That's the problem, Daniel said. Dead men don't stay buried if the wrong people inherit their debts or secrets. Someone found out about you. Someone who believes you're worth something. Worth what? Daniel hesitated. Information, money, revenge. Depends on the person. None of those options sounded survivable. I rubbed my temples. So someone might hurt me, because of who my biological father was? Or who your mother tried to protect you from? Daniel corrected gently. I looked at him for a long time. And you? Why are you here now? Daniel's jaw tightened. Because if they found me once, they'll find me again. And the only good thing I can do before that happens is warn you. Protect you, if I can. A chill ran down my spine. What do you mean before that happens? Daniel, what aren't you telling me? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a folded envelope. This came 2 weeks ago. No return address. Just my name. He handed it to me. My fingers shook as I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A picture taken from across the street of my apartment building. Another picture of me unlocking my door one night. And one sentence written in neat, unsettling handwriting. We know he's alive. My blood went cold. What does this mean? I whispered. It means, Daniel said, that whoever sent this thinks you're Thomas's heir. And they won't stop until they find out what you know. But I don't know anything. He nodded slowly. But they don't believe that. And they think I'm hiding you. The room suddenly felt too small, too warm, too fragile. What do they want? I asked. Daniel sighed. Thomas left behind something very valuable. Not money, something worse. Something that people would kill for. And they believe you might be the last person who knows where it is. And do I? No, Daniel said. But they won't accept that. A long silence followed. Okay, I finally said. Tell me everything. Start to finish. Daniel rubbed his face with both hands. It's complicated, but if you want the full truth, then we need to go somewhere else. Talking here is dangerous. Someone's already been watching you. My stomach dropped. What? He pointed subtly toward the window. I saw the same car parked outside your building last night. Same one that's been near my place all week. I walked to the window slowly. The street below looked normal. Cars parked in their usual spots. People walking dogs. A cyclist passing by. Which one? I asked. Daniel didn't move from the chair. Blue sedan. Black tinted windows. License plate is fake. I scanned the street. Blue sedan. Tinted windows. My pulse spiked. Jesus, I breathed. They're just sitting there. They're waiting, Daniel corrected. They want to see if I lead them to you. They might not know we're both here yet. Fear wrapped around my spine like ice. So what do? We leave, Daniel said. Right now. But where? To someone who still owes me a favor, he said. A man who knew our father better than anyone. A man who hated him, but stayed alive because Thomas trusted him. That sounds like the opposite of someone I want to meet. Daniel actually let out a humorless laugh. Trust me, I don't want to see him either. But he's the only one who might know why they're looking for you. I looked around my apartment, at the quiet life I'd built, the normalcy I'd taken for granted. None of it felt real anymore. How long will we be gone? I asked. No idea. Will I be safe? Not immediately. Will you tell me everything once we leave? I'll tell you what I know, he said. But you should prepare yourself. Some truths don't stay still when you look at them. They get bigger. I didn't fully understand what he meant, but I nodded. We packed quickly. Essentials only. Clothes, documents, my laptop, the wooden box, and some cash I had saved. Daniel insisted we use the back stairwell, not the main hallway. Anyone watching the building will track the front exit, he said. We'll leave through the garage. As we walked down the narrow, dimly lit stairs, every echo, every creak made my heart jump. Halfway down, Daniel stopped abruptly and placed an arm in front of me. What? I whispered. He pointed to a shadow moving at the bottom of the stairwell. Someone turning the corner. Someone too quiet. We're not alone, Daniel murmured. He guided us back up 2 flights silently. We slipped out onto the second-floor balcony walkway and crossed toward the opposite end. It eventually connected to an adjacent building's emergency exit. How do you know all these paths? I whispered. Daniel didn't look back. I've had a lifetime of practice. We exited into an alley. The air was cold, biting. The city felt hostile suddenly, like it was holding its breath. There, Daniel said, nodding to a car parked a block away. Older model, unremarkable. We take that. Is it yours? Borrowed, he said. Don't ask. We got in. Daniel drove calmly, but his eyes flicked constantly between the rearview mirror and the street ahead. For nearly 20 minutes, no one followed. Then, a blue sedan turned onto the road behind us. My chest tightened painfully. "It's them," I whispered. "Yes," Daniel said quietly. "And they're not subtle anymore." We drove through 3 intersections. They matched every turn. When the light turned red, Daniel didn't slow down. He ran it, tires screeching. "They won't risk losing us now," he said. "What do they want?" "To corner us somewhere quiet." "And then what?" "You don't want to know." I felt panic clawing at the inside of my throat. "Hold on," Daniel said, gripping the wheel. He suddenly veered sharply right into a narrow alley barely wide enough for the car. The sedan tried to follow, but didn't fit. Sparks flew as its sides scraped the brick walls. "Go!" I yelled. Daniel shot out the other end and took a hard left onto a crowded street. The sedan struggled to reverse out of the alley. For the first time since morning, we had a small lead. Daniel exhaled shakily. "They'll find us again. But we have time now." "Where are we going?" "To a warehouse on the edge of the city," he said. "To meet the man I told you about." "And who is he?" Daniel hesitated. "Then, the man your mother trusted almost as much as she feared. The last person who saw her alive." I stared at him. "Daniel, what are we about to walk into?" His eyes darkened. "The truth," he said, "whether we want it or not."